A quiet suburban neighborhood in Lexington, Kentucky, was about to be shattered by a story that would become the center of a chilling true crime documentary. Olivia Mason, a strikingly beautiful woman in her mid-30s, was the picture of a perfect wife. Married to James Mason, a wealthy entrepreneur 20 years her senior, Olivia appeared to have it all: wealth, a luxurious home, and the admiration of everyone around her. But beneath the surface, a dangerous secret was simmering, one that would soon erupt into a devastating crime. James Mason had built his fortune in real estate and tech investments, making him one of the wealthiest men in the area. He was known for his philanthropic endeavors and impeccable reputation. Olivia, on the other hand, was a former fitness model who had captured James's heart with her charm and beauty. The couple's seemingly perfect marriage, however, was not without its cracks, and James's busy work schedule often left Olivia feeling lonely and neglected. Despite their lavish lifestyle, their emotional connection had started to fade. James's health had also been deteriorating, leaving him with little energy for the active lifestyle Olivia once loved. To fill the void, Olivia joined a high-end gym where she met Ethan Reed, a charismatic and muscular personal trainer. Ethan was everything James wasn't: young, athletic, and attentive. Their professional relationship quickly turned personal, and soon they were engaged in a passionate affair. The affair was discreet at first, with Olivia and Ethan meeting during her training sessions or sneaking away to nearby motels. Olivia was careful, making sure James had no reason to suspect anything. But as their relationship grew more intense, Ethan began to push Olivia for more. He wanted her to leave James and start a new life with him. Olivia, torn between her desire for Ethan and the security her marriage provided, found herself at a dangerous crossroads. In early February, the situation escalated. Ethan, frustrated by Olivia's reluctance to leave her husband, started to show signs of jealousy and aggression. He began to demand that Olivia choose between him and James. Olivia, however, knew that leaving James would not be easy. Their prenuptial agreement meant she would walk away with almost nothing, and James's influence in the community would make any legal battle a nightmare. One night, after a particularly heated argument, Olivia returned home to find James waiting for her. He had noticed the changes in her behavior, the late-night outings, the secretive phone calls. His suspicions were confirmed when he found a series of texts on Olivia's phone from Ethan, professing his love and hinting at their plans to be together. James confronted Olivia, but instead of admitting to the affair, she turned the tables, accusing him of being controlling and neglectful. The argument quickly escalated into a shouting match, with Olivia storming out of the house in tears. She went straight to Ethan's apartment, where they spent the night plotting their next move. It was then that a dark plan began to take shape. Ethan suggested that the only way for them to be together was if James was out of the picture permanently. At first, Olivia was horrified by the suggestion. She loved the life James's money provided and wasn't sure she could go through with such a drastic step. But as the days passed, Ethan's influence over her grew stronger, and Olivia began to consider the unthinkable. The first part of their plan involved gaining control over James's medications. James, suffering from a heart condition, relied on a strict regimen of pills to manage his health. Olivia, familiar with his routine, knew that any deviation could have serious consequences. It was a fragile line to walk, but Olivia and Ethan were determined to make it work. Over the next few weeks, Olivia began subtly altering James's medication. She replaced some of his pills with harmless vitamins, slowly weakening his condition. At the same time, Ethan researched undetectable poisons and methods to make the death look natural. They knew that any sign of foul play would bring the authorities down on them with full force. By mid-March, James's health had visibly deteriorated. He complained of fatigue, dizziness, and shortness of breath. Olivia feigned concern, urging him to rest and promising to take care of everything. James, unaware of the danger lurking within his own home, trusted his wife implicitly. But Olivia and Ethan's plan was about to hit a snag. James's business partner, Thomas Graves, had noticed his declining health and began asking questions. Thomas and James had been friends for years, and he knew something wasn't right. He confronted Olivia one evening, demanding to know what was going on. Olivia, caught off guard, played the role of the worried wife, blaming stress and overwork for James's condition. Thomas seemed unconvinced, but decided to keep an eye on the situation. The tension between Olivia and Ethan grew as they realized they were running out of time. James's health was deteriorating rapidly, and they needed to act before Thomas or anyone else could intervene. Olivia, feeling the pressure, finally agreed to Ethan's plan. They would stage a fatal heart attack making it look like James had died of natural causes. As they prepared for the final act, neither Olivia nor Ethan knew that a single misstep would unravel everything they had carefully planned. The night of March 28th was supposed to be like any other for the Mason household. Olivia, playing the role of the dutiful wife, prepared a light dinner for James. She was careful not to arouse any suspicion, making sure his food looked and tasted the same as always. But tonight, there was an added ingredient, an undetectable poison Ethan had managed to procure from a shady contact. Olivia watched as James took the first bite, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and anticipation. If this worked, she would soon be free of him. James, oblivious to the deadly plan unfolding around him, ate his dinner while discussing a new business deal he was excited about. He had recently received an offer to merge his company with a larger conglomerate, a deal that would have solidified his legacy and ensured financial security for generations. As he talked, Olivia forced herself to smile and nod, masking her inner turmoil. After dinner, James complained of a severe headache and decided to go to bed early. Olivia helped him upstairs, her hands trembling as she laid him down, and gave him his usual medications. Except tonight, one of the pills was replaced with the poison Ethan had given her. As James drifted off to sleep, Olivia lingered by his side, watching the man she had once loved slowly fade away. Hours passed, and the house was eerily quiet. Olivia, unable to sleep, paced back and forth in the living room, glancing at the clock every few minutes. Her phone buzzed. Ethan was calling. She hesitated before answering, stepping outside onto the patio to make sure she wouldn't be overheard. "All's it done?" Ethan's voice was tense. "Not yet," Olivia whispered. "He's still breathing." "Damn it, Olivia. It was supposed to work instantly," Ethan snapped. "Are you sure you did everything right?" "Yes, I did exactly what you told me," she replied, her voice shaking. "Just give it time." But time was something they didn't have. The poison was meant to induce a heart attack quickly, leaving little trace. If it didn't work as planned, there would be too many questions. Olivia hung up, her mind racing with fear and doubt. What if it didn't work? What if James survived and figured out what they were trying to do? As dawn approached, Olivia crept back into the bedroom. To her horror, James was still alive, though his breathing was shallow and labored. His eyes fluttered open as she leaned over him, and for a moment, he seemed to recognize the fear in her gaze. "Olivia," he murmured weakly, reaching out a trembling hand. Panic surged through her. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. She needed to end this now. Without thinking, she grabbed a pillow from the bed and pressed it down over James's face, tears streaming down her cheeks as he struggled beneath her. It felt like an eternity, but finally his body went still. Olivia stumbled back, her chest heaving with sobs. She had done it. James was dead, and there was no turning back. She wiped her eyes and composed herself, rehearsing the story she would tell the police. The next step was to make the scene look convincing. She scattered some of his medications on the nightstand and disheveled the bed, trying to make it appear as if James had been in distress before he died. Then she called Ethan. "It's done," she whispered into the phone. "Good," he replied, his voice filled with relief. "Now you need to call 911. Remember, you found him like that. Keep calm and stick to the story." With trembling hands, Olivia dialed 911, her voice steady as she told the dispatcher that her husband wasn't breathing and she needed help immediately. Within minutes, the sound of sirens filled the quiet neighborhood, and soon the house was swarming with paramedics and police officers. Detective Claire Thompson, a seasoned investigator with a reputation for solving high-profile cases, arrived at the scene shortly after. She surveyed the chaos with a practiced eye, her gaze settling on Olivia, who was standing on the porch, wrapped in a blanket, her eyes red from crying. "Mrs. Mason," Detective Thompson approached her gently. "I'm so sorry for your loss. Can you tell me what happened?" Olivia recounted her rehearsed story, her voice breaking at the right moments. She claimed that James had been feeling unwell for days and that she had tried to get him to see a doctor, but he had insisted it was just stress. Last night, he had gone to bed early, and when she woke up, she found him unresponsive. Thompson nodded, taking notes. "I understand. We'll need to conduct a routine investigation just to rule out any foul play. It's standard procedure in cases like this." Olivia nodded, tears streaming down her face. She knew this would happen, but hearing it confirmed sent a shiver down her spine. As the paramedics wheeled James's body out on a stretcher, Olivia forced herself to look away, the weight of what she had done pressing down on her like a physical force. The next few days were a blur of police interviews and funeral arrangements. Olivia played the part of the grieving widow flawlessly, gaining sympathy from everyone around her. Ethan, meanwhile, kept his distance, communicating only through brief, coded messages to avoid suspicion. But Detective Thompson wasn't easily fooled. She had been in this business long enough to know when something wasn't right, and there was something about Olivia's story that didn't sit well with her. She ordered a full autopsy on James's body, suspecting that there was more to his death than met the eye. What she discovered would unravel Olivia and Ethan's carefully constructed plan and set the stage for a dramatic confrontation that would expose their deadly secret to the world. The results of James's autopsy came back quicker than expected, and they were alarming. The toxicology report revealed traces of a rare, undetectable poison in his bloodstream, one that wouldn't have been present in his regular medication. Detective Thompson knew then that this was no natural death. It was a meticulously planned murder. The revelation cast Olivia's composed grief in a new light. Thompson, now certain that Olivia was hiding something, decided to dig deeper. She obtained a warrant to search the Mason residence and interviewed people close to the couple. Olivia's gym attendance was a common topic, and the name Ethan Reed came up frequently as someone she had been spending a lot of time with. Thompson's team tracked down Ethan's details, and a quick look at his background revealed a history of financial troubles and a string of relationships with wealthy women. He was exactly the kind of man who would be involved in a plot like this. When the detective put surveillance on him, she discovered that despite their caution, Ethan and Olivia had been meeting in secret. One evening, Thompson made a crucial breakthrough. Reviewing security footage from the gym parking lot, she spotted Olivia and Ethan having what appeared to be an intense conversation in his car. The footage showed Olivia handing Ethan a small, unmarked bottle, the same bottle that was later found in a dumpster near his apartment, and which tested positive for traces of the poison found in James's system. Armed with this evidence, Detective Thompson brought Olivia in for questioning. Olivia, still confident in her ability to deceive, maintained her innocence, sticking to her story about James's poor health and accidental death. But when Thompson revealed the footage and the poisoned bottle, Olivia's facade began to crack. "You don't understand," Olivia finally said, her voice breaking. "I didn't want to hurt him. I didn't have a choice." Her confession opened the floodgates. She admitted that Ethan had pressured her into the plan, threatening to expose their affair to James and ruin her life if she didn't cooperate. She claimed she had only tampered with James's medications under duress, but insisted that she never wanted him dead. Thompson wasn't convinced. Olivia's tears couldn't erase the cold, calculating actions that had led to James's death. Thompson then turned her attention to Ethan. Knowing he would be less likely to crack, she decided to play Olivia against him. She visited him at the gym, dropping hints that Olivia was already cooperating, suggesting that she had implicated him as the mastermind. Ethan, realizing that his carefully constructed world was crumbling, made a desperate move. He agreed to talk in exchange for leniency, admitting that he had procured the poison and given it to Olivia, believing she would only use it to incapacitate James temporarily. Ethan's confession sealed their fate. The police had all the evidence they needed to charge both of them with conspiracy and first-degree murder. As the media caught wind of the scandal, the story exploded, painting Olivia and Ethan as the quintessential femme fatale and her scheming lover. The trial that followed was a media circus. Olivia's defense team argued that she had been manipulated and coerced by Ethan, who had taken advantage of her vulnerability. But the prosecution, led by a relentless attorney, painted a different picture. A greedy woman who, along with her lover, had plotted to kill her husband for his fortune. Ethan's testimony was the nail in Olivia's coffin. Despite their shared culpability, his portrayal of her as the instigator left the jury with little doubt. The prosecution presented the texts, the bottle, and the footage, painting an irrefutable picture of their guilt. In the end, the jury found both Olivia and Ethan guilty. Olivia was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, while Ethan received a slightly reduced sentence in exchange for his cooperation, but he would still spend decades behind bars. The aftermath of the case left a lasting impact on the community. James Mason's company, once a symbol of success and ambition, was left in disarray. His business partner, Thomas Graves, took over the reins, vowing to restore the company's reputation. He established a charitable foundation in James's name, using a portion of the company's profits to support causes James had cared about. As for Olivia, she became the subject of numerous documentaries and true crime books, her story serving as a cautionary tale about greed, deceit, and the deadly consequences of betrayal. The suburban home where the murder took place was sold, its new owners unaware of the dark history within its walls. Detective Claire Thompson, though satisfied with the outcome, was left haunted by the case. She had seen many crimes in her career, but the cold, calculated nature of Olivia and Ethan's plan was something that stayed with her. It reminded her of the thin veneer that separates civilized society from the dark urges lurking beneath. The once perfect life Olivia had enjoyed, filled with luxury and privilege, was now a distant memory. She would spend the rest of her days in a prison cell, a far cry from the opulent world she had killed to keep. The story of Olivia Mason and Ethan Reed would go down in history as one of the most chilling crimes of the decade. A grim reminder that even the most beautiful facades can hide the darkest secrets.